Welcome everyone to the Demand Response and Grid Optimization Virtual Summit. This is Dan Korn, editor here at the Smart Grid Observer, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all to today's proceedings. We have a full lineup of sessions and speakers, and I'm sure we'll all benefit greatly from their insights and perspectives. Our first session today is on bolstering demand response results through consumer engagement. And our speaker is Mr. Mike Ruth, who is Senior Strategy Director at Tendril. Mike has more than 25 years of experience leading product and strategic marketing programs, along with a solid background in hardware and software engineering, product development, and product and international business management. In addition to his energy consumer engagement experience with Tendril, his consumer marketing experience includes stints in the natural food and grocery industry and gaming systems for recreational and professional golfers. He has held director-level leadership positions at KLA Tencor, which is a Silicon Valley semiconductor equipment manufacturer, and Wind River Systems, an embedded software and tools company. So without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and turn things over to Mike Ruth.
Thank you, Dan, and good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here this morning and to kick off the summit. So I'd like to dive right in. My talk this morning, as Dan said, is about bolstering DR results through consumer engagement. We have some interesting data that we'd like to present about the results that we have seen over the last several years. So let me move forward here. So just a quick snapshot and background about Tendril. So Tendril is the leader in delivering consumer engagement applications, products, and services to the energy management sector or space. Our market-leading Energize application suite that's comprised of home energy reports, email services, web applications, mobile and device control is a key application suite in delivering energy efficiency and demand response and load control programs for our utility and energy service provider customers. Our solutions are delivered on top of our Connect platform, the industry's only open and scalable platform that enables delivery of an entire value chain of solutions, as I said, from energy efficiency to demand response and load control. We have customers who are using our solutions to actually enable a marketplace of additional energy products and services that they want to offer to their constituents, to their customers. We're based here in Boulder, Colorado, offices internationally. And we have over 40 key energy provider and ecosystem customers that we've been serving over the last several years, North America, Europe, and Australia. We've recently been leading a separate webinar series that has talked about our engagement with Duke Energy, where we are delivering and deploying what we believe, by our count, is the nation's largest home energy reports deployment for Duke Energy. We have engagements with companies like KCP&L, Origin Energy in Australia, a leading retailer, where our application suite is getting fully deployed. And also interestingly, one of our engagements in Europe with Essent, where they have been using our platform as part of their co-creation project to basically enable third-party application development, energy applications to be developed to ultimately be selected by end consumers in terms of what is most interesting and delivers the greatest value. So we're seeing lots of success and lots of engagement, if you will, throughout the world and across the various solutions that we deliver. So let's get into this. Okay. So from an energy provider perspective, You know, the key solutions that we deliver, as I said, are energy efficiency solutions, demand management, which is what we're here to talk about today, and acquisition and retention programs for the retail energy provider segment. These are delivered on top of the Connect platform, but a key to our approach is through our consumer engagement methodology. And I'll get to that on the next slide, but we bring that methodology and framework to bear through the products and the solutions that we offer in the marketplace, whether those are paper reports, home energy reports, web portals, mobile applications, or the devices that are employed for programs like demand response and load control. At the end of the day, though, you know, we are focused on consumer engagement with the end result in mind, and that is delivering value to our customers. In the case of demand response and load control, that means we need to be able to show that these solutions deliver the peak load management, the capacity reduction that our customers are looking for through these type of solutions and the type of programs that they're deploying into the marketplace. And so through our applications and products and services led by Energize, built on top of our platform, we basically provide a framework that allows consumers to engage at various levels through our solution set and accelerate to value, delivering value to our customers at higher levels or in a kind of faster time to market perspective. Okay. So our focus through in consumer engagement is that consumer engagement is ultimately a journey. It's not a destination defined by a single product, a single interaction, or solution set. The journey is designed to solve both the human problem of getting consumers to engage, to participate, to enroll in these type of programs, as well as the technical of being able to affect the load control to be able to shed load if and when and where needed to increase the reliability on the grid. At the end of the day, for consumers, the goal is to deliver a personalized consumer experience. The goal for our customers is delivering persistent and real value through our solutions. So our approach to turning data into actionable information and controllable load brings together years of behavioral science methodology as well as building energy science modeling, and this framework informs each step along this journey, the types of products, the types of interactions that we bring to bear for the various solutions that we enable in the marketplace. From a behavioral change framework perspective, the behavioral science behind all of this shows that to engage consumers, you need to enable them to understand and increase their awareness about energy, allow them to set a goal, to take actions, to get feedback toward that goal. This applies obviously on the energy efficiency front, but helping consumers understand why they should want to participate in a demand response or a load control program is just as important of an insight, if you will, as showing them energy efficiency savings tips. So what does consumer engagement mean in the context of demand response and load control? So it's still a journey. I think those of us who've been in the industry for a while would all acknowledge that you know, the first step in the process is getting consumers educated and aware enough that they want to participate in these type of programs. And so from that previous slide, as we think about that journey from insight to choice to control, that applies in the DR context as well. So in the graphic that you see here is really a representation of the entire consumer journey as we visualize it and think about the key steps along the way. And applying this framework to the consumer journey, insight, it starts with education and awareness. And for us, as we engage with our customers, our energy provider customers, it starts with targeted marketing and enrollment sites that help them educate their customers, consumers, around why they should care about these programs and what's in it for them if they sign up for the program. Ultimately, the consumer has the choice to actually enroll and then ultimately participate in these programs. And so the process, the engagement process, doesn't just start or stop at someone signing up on an enrollment site. It continues through the installation of load control devices, whether that's a smart thermostat or a load control switch or other, through customer experience training for call center scripts and treatments, to the product touch points and options that consumers have to engage in programs like this. And ultimately it ends in control. Obviously, enabling utility control to be able to shed load at the desired time, but also consumer control. And I'm going to dive in a little bit more on that here in coming slides. So what I'd like to do is drill in a little bit on each of these: insight, choice, and control, and how the consumer engagement components of those really apply in the context of demand response. Okay. So insight. So the key point here is that you have that first customer impression, that first customer touch of receiving that piece of marketing, whether that's an email or a direct mail piece or a call from a call center support representative, is key. And so you really need to optimize that first point of engagement, because you'll never have a better chance, a better time to engage consumers. So when we engage in a project with our customers, we start from that front end of the consumer experience, and we work with them on the goals of the program, who they want to target. We enable and work with them to segment their customer base, understand how different messaging can work with different segments of their customer base, build the education and awareness pieces and tools. I'll talk about those in a second. And ultimately make sure there's a very friendly and seamless enrollment process to get people onboarded and in the program as quickly as possible. At the end of the day, when you do this correctly, you see results like I'm showing here at the bottom of the screen, where you know, through a set of upfront marketing campaigns across email and direct mail, if you look on the far right-hand side, you can get great response rates, industry-leading response rates to folks to drive them to enrollment sites and ultimately to get to the enrollment numbers that you want. In this case, the goal was 300 enrolled participants in this program. We actually had 600 folks sign up through the process of qualifying folks. There were some that were qualified out, some dropped out. We ultimately had 361 accepted into the program, and in the end, 277 systems installed through the course. So the upfront marketing, if optimized, can work. Next couple slides I'm going to talk through very quickly. These are examples of segmented recruitment emails that we have done for some of our clients, showing you some of the different messaging and graphical treatments based on the segments that we're targeting. Enrollment Site is as a landing page is a great education piece. Here you can see two different enrollment sites and a couple different pages. One that we did for SDG&E around a thermostat program and providing simple forms to gather the data that we needed to sign somebody up. And here on the right-hand side is a product page as part of an NSTAR program that really talked to, hey, here's all the different touch points, the pieces of technology that you as a consumer may see. So that was kind of insight. So moving up the framework, choice. What does that mean in the context of demand response? At the end of the day, as I said before, program enrollment and event participation are choices. Consumers can choose to enroll. They can choose to opt in or opt out of events. And so once these systems are installed, the challenge, the problem doesn't end just there. So it's important for consumers, if you look at the kind of the core social and behavioral concepts, it's important for consumers to maintain a feeling that they are still in control, particularly for these devices that are within their home. They need to feel that they haven't, they're not letting Big Brother, if you will, kind of step in through the door and take over. And there's also a recognition that one size doesn't fit all. So certain segments like to interact through web portals. Some like to interact with the device on the wall. Some folks are more mobile users. And so the key concept here is that you need to recognize that consumers want to interact with energy how and when and where they want, and you need to provide them the tools that enable them to do it in a way that is most convenient for them. They need to be able to control how much information they receive and share if they're engaged in a social forum, for example. And so that concept is key. How Tendril has helped realize that and bring that to market is that this concept of choice and one size doesn't fit all is inherently designed in every one of our solutions, from the various touch points, products, if you will, that we enable and deliver as part of the various solutions, from web portals and mobile applications and devices, to the choices enabled through the behavioral and social components embedded as features within these products, to ultimately taking actions, whether that's an energy efficiency solution or energy efficiency tip or recommendation, or taking an action to actually opt into an event that we're talking about here. At the end of the day, the result is that design matters, that incorporating these concepts into products results in consumers who are more engaged. These bullets here at the bottom actually summarize a number of different client results at a fairly high level, but we have customers like Reliant who are seeing excited and satisfied customers as part of a retail energy offering using our technology. We have energy efficiency program, persistent savings and interaction and social engagement through Cape Light. And maybe most interesting is that we are seeing huge jumps in consumer engagement around energy, spending time on and in these products. There's statistics out there that show consumers typically spend 6 to 8 minutes per year online accounts or thinking about their energy, and we're seeing 20 to 30x that folks interacting with our solutions. At the end of the day, what this results in is people participating in these peak load management events, and we have 2 years of pilot data that we're that has helped us learn our path through this. And so then the final step, and you know, in the case of DR and load control, control is critical for demand response. Utility control, absolutely. You know, we wouldn't be doing this, or I should say, you all, utility or energy service providers, wouldn't be doing this if you weren't able to affect peak load, whether that's through traditional load control programs or price-based demand response programs. The key, though, is consumer control. And by enabling consumers to have enough control around these systems and know that they can opt in or opt out if it's inconvenient in the moment, within, you know, program constraints, obviously. In the end, what that does is it raises trust and confidence of the consumer to participate more in these programs. So as examples of how we've brought elements of consumer control into our products, wanted to step through a couple slides very quickly here. These screenshots on the right are shots from our Energize web application, showing the ability to control connected programmable thermostats, as well as, if you look closely here, additional smart plugs and outlets, so other loads in the home that can be plugged into the wall. And so providing them the ability, the consumers, the ability to program remotely, know that they can set and forget these devices, so that their lives and comfort and convenience is optimized, is a key and important capability. You know, where variable pricing programs are being employed, time of use programs or critical peak pricing, enabling a consumer to set pricing rules that control loads in their homes is a great feature that allows them to say, hey, yes, I acknowledge I'm part of this program. When the price of energy goes above X, then I do want to turn that off. I want to voluntarily program my house, if you will, to react to price signals. So another example of a consumer control feature that actually supports consumer engagement within demand response. And then ultimately provide them tools to participate in actual events. So this may be a little bit hard to see, but you can see notifications here through a web portal. These would also be propagated and posted on mobile apps. You'll see that on the next slide, or would be posted to a device event notification or alert. But providing them a view to, are you in an event? How long is it going to be? You know, down here at the bottom, you can see kind of an event log, so that they never feel things are being done to them without the information being presented proactively or in arrears if they happen to be away during the day and came home and realized, hey, my house feels just a little bit cooler or a little bit warmer than it usually is when I come home at night. Why did that happen? They have a place to go to understand how or what may have happened and transpired during the day. As I mentioned, mobile apps. So similarly, this information can be pushed to mobile apps for people who are mobile users. So the result of this is that consumer engagement, CE here, sorry for the abbreviation, in the context of demand response, when these principles are applied, we're seeing better results. We're seeing a better program participation and lower acquisition costs. We're seeing attractive opt-out rates and energy savings through these events. We have over 2 years of pilot results from our various client engagements. As I mentioned at the beginning, our solutions are deployed on top of the Connect platform, where we gather the requisite data to feed M&V initiatives and activities. We have an insight analytics team where we do our own analysis, but this data ultimately can be passed on to third-party EM&V vendors on behalf of the utility to provide the third-party assessment. So my last slide here is an example of a recent summer pilot that we've done. As Dan may know, this is hot off the presses, and so we're still at some level going through the analysis. So you'll see marks of preliminary in some cases, but this is very, very attractive. So in this case, we had deployed our Energize web application together with our SetPoint programmable thermostat, and this is a summary, a snapshot of a number of the events that were run over the course of this last summer. If you look at the table at the bottom there, and you can see event by event, the capacity savings, the energy savings over the course of the event period, and ultimately there on the far right-hand side of the table, what we had expected. So the key takeaways are that we are seeing through the course of this pilot, we saw an average capacity per thermostat or per household reduction of 1.65 kilowatts. This was in the Southwest, and so those of you who are familiar with HVAC systems might point out that 1.65 is greater than a typical HVAC. In some of our homes, there were actually multiple thermostats under control, and so the average was and ended up being around 1.65. We're seeing the energy savings over the period, so the full energy reduction that was achieved through the event to actually slightly surpass our expected savings model. And that's the comparison of the two right-hand columns of the table at the bottom. And so this is very positive in that it validates that our building modeling and projections are valid, that ultimately enables and feeds forecasting models for these type of programs. From a consumer engagement perspective, we're seeing positive opt-out rates, positive in the low sense. In terms of full opt-out, we had less than 1% of participants opting out at the beginning of an event. We had low partial opt-out, and so these are consumers who at some point during the course of the event chose to override and opt out of the event. And so those are just some of the preliminary numbers that we're seeing off of this one particular pilot. On the far right-hand side, a number of the peak load analysis analytics charts and graphs that our team produces for our customers and for our internal analysis. So with that, I'd like to say thank you for listening. We're really excited with the results that we're seeing and bringing together the concepts of consumer engagement to the arena and area of demand response and load control. And so thank you very much, and I will turn it over to Dan for questions.
Thanks, Mike. I'd like to invite everyone now to please close this viewer window and adjourn to the Q&A discussion area where Mike will be happy to take your questions. Thanks.
Thank you.